Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us. Today we're back with actress and fantasy author Mary Coe. Hey, Mary, welcome back.
Hi, Sophia. Great to be back.
Great to have you back. And today I want to talk all about author branding with you. So,
Yeah.
Mary, let's start with this. How would you describe your author brand and how did you develop it?
I think the best way I could describe my author brand is I am an author for artists. I really want to connect with people who are like minded creatives, especially people who are dealing with imposter syndrome or doubts or insecurities in their own artist journey. And I think the ways that I've tried to do that are through either posting on social media, but also even in my hardcover book, in the book jacket, I wrote a letter to the readers of this great book. But having my own personal vulnerabilities present for readers to actually know and get. So it doesn't feel like I'm just this author behind some closed door, but to say, look, I know where you're at. If you're also an artist who's trying to get their art out into the world, I see you. In fact, I wrote this book specifically for you through the lens of a very fun fantasy story. But this is a book for you, about you. And I think for me, that has been the my hope in branding my books has been to be a very vulnerable, accessible author.
Oh, I love that. Now, besides vulnerability and accessibility, is there a specific word or phrase that comes to mind that you want readers to associate with you when they pick up your book?
Oh, wow, that's a great question. I would say immersive is a word that I would probably want readers to associate with me. And yeah, I guess immersive and inspired. Those are two words that I would choose.
Now that's great, not only for a fantasy author or authors, but it's just those are two great words for authors in general. Now, Mary, what steps do you take to ensure consistency across your branding platforms, such as your book, your website, and your social media channels?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the way that I try to keep myself consistent with branding, started with a logo. When I was publishing the book, I went, you know what? This book series needs to have a logo and it needs to match the aesthetic of these books, which is kind of based in a Regency era world. So we made a crest with a big A for Aliquian. And that really helped to kind of stamp my brand on my website as well as on social media. I think also visually speaking, I'm a very visual storyteller. And so making sure that nature and that artistry component of my main character is really like front and center for everybody to see. So when they come to my, Instagram, they look they are experiencing a very artistic social media space, or even when they go to my website they see a photo shoot that I did out west that has this very beautiful golden lit light and feels like they are in that story. I want readers to feel very immersed um, across everything when they read the book, when they come to my Instagram or my TikTok, and when they go to my website.
Right. Having those key kind of branding words and then just filling your entire author brand with it is great. Now, I want to talk a little bit about your background again. We've talked about this in a couple of our other sections, but I want to know specifically how has your background in musical theater and acting influenced your brand as an author?
Yeah, this is a great question too. I think bringing in components of what I learned about the entertainment industry, specifically as an actress, has been super helpful to knowing how to brand as an author. So, branding really is just about authenticity, I believe. And I think as an actress, I was constantly going in for different shows or different, films or whatever. And I'm standing next to, 15 other women that look exactly like me and are probably dressed exactly like me and they sound exactly like me, but they're not me. So I had to come to this realization, even as a performer, your unique expression is important and only you can tell a story in the way that you can through your eyes, through your experiences. And I think bringing that understanding into my writing brand and my author brand has been super important. It's like no one could tell this story but me. And I bring my experiences as a struggling actress and knowing what it's like to be jobless for, months on end, to the experience of being a vulnerable writer who's saying, I wrote this story out of that place. And how can I connect with other artists who can resonate?
I think that's great because I think that that's something a lot of people don't think about. And especially with imposter syndrome and getting overwhelmed, a lot of times authors think this is such a saturated market. People have already done this. There's so many people like me. But really, there is not one story. There's lots of relatable stories to your story, but there isn't ever one exactly the same. And so you can always break into that market and tell your story.
Absolutely.
Lastly, Mary, I just want to ask you, what advice would you give to emerging authors who are trying to establish a distinct identity in the literary world?
I think I would give the advice to other authors who are trying to find their unique path on their author journey. I would just say stick to being completely yourself. Trust that you as you are is enough, and the right people are going to help you open the doors for you along the way. I think something that was really major for me when I was starting out was knowing that everything that you learn in your writing journey or as you're publishing your first book will help to inform next or future experiences. And everything is a learning experience. So if your first book doesn't do great, your next one could do better. Or maybe you just haven't written that story yet, and your experience in writing books earlier is going to help you later on. You just never know. So you just have to trust your own journey. And I think putting on your blinders and not looking or comparing to other people who are even remotely close to what you're doing. Just focus on yourself, focus on your own unique voice and your style as an author, and the right doorways will open for you. You just have to trust. It's a hard thing to trust, but it's a process, but it's the journey is worth it.
Well, Mary, thank you so much for that wonderful insight on author branding.
Thank you so much, Sophia. I so enjoyed talking with you.
That's all the time we have for today. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to today's interview with actress and fantasy author Mary Coe. Be sure to check out our website for more videos. Wishing you all a fulfilling and successful writing journey.